you guys can go on mute. Actually, I'll put you on mute really quick. All right, there's a little bit of background. All right. Hey, we're live again for another Talk Power BI Friday. Hello and welcome everybody. If this is your first time joining Talk Power BI, the premise of Talk Power BI is simple. Well, we come here, hang out, and talk Power BI. Well, sometimes we have some special topics around Power BI, sometimes beyond. We kick that off, but always we hang back for your questions. So it doesn't matter if you're getting started or if you are well on your journey with Power BI. If you're stuck, then this is the place to try to get help. This is a place where I make myself available, and of course you have the community to hang out as well to get some help, because we believe in learning by doing. But what you realize, the hard part is when you start doing, you kind of get stuck. And so that's why we're here for. So I'm going to check in. If you're joining us online, do say hello in the chat window. Let me know where you're calling from. Anything else that I forgot? Let's just say hi. Jen Nabel is here. Hello, Jen. How are you doing? Always good to see familiar faces. So today I do not have a kickoff topic, which can be a good thing. Ooh. All right, Ken has an idea. Let's see who else is there. So let me say hello first to our Learn Power BI members who are on the phone with me. I have Hari, I have Ken, and I have Thomas. Hello and welcome everybody. And on the phone, we have Jen Nabel from Chicago, right? I hope I remember that right. Jim Wade says hello. Manoj Kumar says hello. Hello, my friends. So while I'm waiting for your questions, actually, let's see if I have any announcements. Do I have any announcements? Maybe I'll catch up a little bit on what's going on in my life, our life. So, of course, the past few weeks we had been really focused on real Power BI. And the idea behind real Power BI is simple. Oops. Oh. Whoa. What? Something. I don't know. What was that? There we go. So, we bring small and medium businesses who need help with their projects and match them up with professionals, Power BI professionals inside our program. And the deadline was September 1st. And I want to thank everybody who submitted the projects. Now, of course, the catch was this is free help. The only catch was that was application based, and we let everybody know right at the beginning that, hey, we may not be able to match everybody with somebody that can help, right? So that's the catch right there. We had projects submitted from all over the world, which was really exciting. And we had projects from all different industries, so that was pretty exciting too. We were able to match up quite a few of them, but not all. But you know what? We're going to take care of everybody. So the plan is, of course, that the folks who have been matched up with projects, they're going to work, the Power BI professionals are going to lead them through the project with their support. We're the guide rails in this case. And the ones who are not matched up will be reaching out to you. And, we want to do something. So we're gonna offer you some help and support, where at least we can provide you guidance. We can kind of point you in the right direction so that you can kind of go on your own. And that's, of course, the awesome thing about Power BI is, can you go faster if you get some training or you hire a professional? Yes, you can, but that's not the only path. And it's always better to kind of make some progress. And then, hey, when you do need some official training or official help, then go for that. That's, I guess, the biggest update. And of course, so now that Real Power BI is kicked off, we'll be there in the background. But we're switching to a different mode on Team Avi. And we're seeing, hey, we like this. We enjoyed this thing about Real Power BI, but what about beyond that, right? I mean, and of course, maybe because it's free, we can only do like a limited stuff, right? We can't help everybody, but can we reach out to other small and medium businesses and see who needs help and go help them, right? So we're thinking about that. So you might hear more from us about that. Cool. So that's about it. Let me catch up on whom did I miss. We have Srinivas, Sandeep says hello. Srinivas has a question. We'll get to your questions in a bit. Grace says hi. Yeah, Grace has a question too. Pantry Coupon says hello. All right, cool. All right, so, and we had some new other folks join on the phone as well. So in our tradition, so folks, if you're new here, then the way we do it is we take one question. I should update this. We kind of don't do it, which is well, it's a nice thing to do. But so we take one question from the Learn Power BI folks on the phone. Then we pick up one question from YouTube, and if you hang on, then we open the phone lines for you as well. For that, and you know, we invite the folks on YouTube to join on the phone. That way, you can just talk to me. You can share your screen if you need to. Show me, Avi, this measure isn't working, and help me out. So let's go to the phone and let's see if anybody has a question there for me, for the community. Ooh. All right, so folks on the phone, if you do have a question, just unmute yourself and talk to me. That's the easiest way. I will caveat that I'm not often able to see the chat window because I'm looking at the YouTube chat. All right, so again, unmute yourself and talk. Let me go to YouTube then. Sandeep, please. Ooh, Sandeep has a general question. It's interesting. So Srinivas filter pane option is not available in Power BI server on-prem. Filter pane should be there. It may not be the new filter pane. It may be the old filter pane, which is in the oh gosh, I don't know what to call it. It used to be. Yeah, I'll bring up Power BI, and Srinivas, maybe I can point you there. So it definitely should be there. All right. Sandeep says how to master DAX. How to master DAX. Grace, talk to me. What is your scenario? A scenario that's really complicated to me. Okay, deep breaths. All right, on the phone though, folks. No questions. Quiet crowd today.
Hi, Avi.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Ken, right?
Mark here.
Mark. All right. Hey, Mark. How's it going?
Oh, yeah, it's going good, man. I have a meeting with my client later on
Yeah.
at 12.
And
So I have a question. Sorry, you want to say something?
oh, I was just gonna say, so you're working with the client, and you also have that gig with that training company, and that's also going well.
Yeah. No, that's good. Kind of trying to juggle both. It's a
Yeah.
bit tough.
That's
Yeah,
a good problem to have, mate. Right?
yeah, get the pressure on two sides.
Yeah. But hey, that accelerates your learning so much. So yeah. So what's on your mind today?
So I've been looking at one of my big problems this week. I was hoping to be a lot further
Uh
down the
huh.
line with the project,
Yeah.
but my main problem is with the data.
Yeah.
I was expecting that when you learn the stuff, the data is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found in the income statement is that they have negatives where there's revenue. And so my question basically is that a normal thing to have both positive and negative in a income statement?
Um. Well, yeah. You really don't know what to expect, right?
Yeah.
So let's see. All right. So let's timestamp it. So 9:12 mark D and both positive and numbers in income statement. Um. Well, Yeah, I do see negative numbers in income statement. Like I'm not a finance guy myself, but it could be kind of adjustment, refunds, all of that. And I'm sure there are other scenarios uh, where,
Yes, I'm familiar. Usually you have like $10 coming in, $10 like a positive,
yeah,
$10 negative, but it's usually consistent. You get a few of those and it's positive, negative. And how it relates to Power BI is that if you bring it into Power BI,
mm-hmm,
right,
yeah,
you have to make all the revenue positive and all the expenses negative.
yeah,
So, but if you have inconsistent data where you can't really define what is going, you don't know if it's a
yeah,
positive, negative, or if it's a mistake, an error in the
yeah,
transaction.
y-
So I'm finding a difference in positive and negative about, a huge number. So I'm
yeah,
asking myself, okay, this is not debit credit, the canceling each other, one side of the ledger canceling the other side. This is something else. I'm not sure what it is.
yeah. So uh, let's think it through. So I'm thinking, let's see. Let's maybe fire up Excel. We'll see. But if we have something like this, maybe. Uh, so if we had, let's say, I don't know, courses sold, right? So online or actually, what is the company about that you're working with?
They deal with, I don't want to give the name exactly because I signed a
Yeah,
non-disclosure.
yeah, just the
Um,
industry.
sorry, the
Just
industry is
yeah.
in the basically solving some of the water issues, climate change issues like
Oh,
that.
okay. Got it. All right. All right. So I'm sure they don't charge this way, but yeah. So actually, Excel came up. Thank God. Okay. So if I had customer or maybe date, uh, customer, and then dollar amount, right, and then some I don't know product notes, description, something like that, right? So let's say January 1, 2019, customer John bought $300 worth of something, right? So, uh, and then on 15th, 2019, uh, Steve bought $500 worth of additional services from us. But on February 1, 2019, John wasn't happy, so we gave him a refund and so forth. And let's see. And here maybe we paid at the end of the month. We paid I don't know, like a facilities expense, and this was right. So if I were so again, the business gets to define what's right. I mean, I wouldn't really know, right? So one
Hmm.
option is all positive amounts are revenue. I'm not gonna care. I don't care, dude. Right? All
Right.
negative amounts are expenses. And frankly, that's simple. So again, and what we're gonna find here is that it's also not right or wrong.
Hmm.
Sometimes. Now, of course, there's the whole financial ledger thing, credit debit. That's a different matter. But I think we're not talking about that in this case, right? So in this case, if I have numbers like this, then I can say positive is revenue, negative is expenses. And when they
Hmm.
go in there and they say, hey, what are my expenses? They'll say that, oh, some are this stuff, but there's going to be a bucket which would say refund or something. Which right. So But
Mhm.
in some scenarios, it's possible that somebody would say, no, 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 this is not a refund. Or they have, kind of adjustments where they say, it's adjusted because the original amount was wrong,
Right.
right? So, so that kind of stuff. So they're saying that no, it's not just that you can take negative and this is not expense. This is expense, facility
Mhm.
stuff. These are, these are adjustments to this. We didn't make that money because so there's no revenue there because we refunded that amount, and this wasn't 500, 300, right? So now, of course, that one is can be a little tricky, but I go back to my classic, which is human learning comes before machine learning.
Right.
So I want to sit down with them and I say, forget about Power BI for now. How would a human do it? How would you
Uh,
know? And frankly, this takes a few iterations because humans, we tend to think in these intuitive leaps. Like they would say, oh, I know. Like, no, no,
yeah.
no, that doesn't work. Like, how do you know? Right? If I'm looking through this, I looked at this, I looked at this, I looked at this, and so I'll just maybe go one by one, maybe set up a sample, something like, okay, is this revenue or expense? Okay, it's revenue. Okay, got it right. I mean, is this revenue expense? Oh, it's expense. How, oh, this, so I like, how did you know? Like, oh, because of this, right? So human learning, once you have that, all you have to do, if they are not happy with this scenario, is to capture the human learning. Now, of course, another thing that I found is that often when you go in where they haven't had much BI, human
Mhm.
learning is not precise. I mean, they think that they know, but they don't really know. So you will be stepping through the data with them, and they'll go, oh yeah, this is an expense, and you'll say why, and you'll say, oh, because of this, and you will say, oh wait, but if you say because of this, the same rules apply for this. Why is that an expense? And then it'll go, so something like that. So, I
Right.
mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be exploration, especially if any organization starts using Power BI for the first time. I love it. It's like shining kind of a flashlight in a dark room. You don't really know what it's going to find, and sometimes the system isn't set up the working the way they expect or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's the short lesson, right? So there's no kind of trick there. If it is not a simple rule as this, then you just got to figure out with them that, hey, how do I know? Now, of course, long term, long term, maybe this is already there, but you can maintain a field there, which will say revenue or expense, and that sort of stuff, right? So,
Right.
and now, of course, the question becomes, how is that field maintained? I don't
Yeah.
really know. That would depend on the systems. It's possible that the system is smart enough to flag it, or whatever rules you come in with Power BI, you first feed them in Power BI, but then you systematize them. You go back to the source system and code those same rules there, and then you can eliminate the heavy lifting you're doing in Power BI. And again, it's I'm not saying that is a path to go. I mean, like it all kind of depends, like how um, I mean, that of course approach can have the advantages that if not just you, if somebody else builds a report, they don't have to do this heavy lifting because now you have coded it back in the system, right? So those are the that's kind of what comes to mind for me now. Does that kind of help a little bit?
Yes. I have a meeting with him soon. I'm sure he's gonna give me some explanation to what you just said now.
Yeah.
But his question in his mind might be, how do we solve this for Power BI? Now, obviously, it's based on how the business treats it. Now, let's say the business, what they don't really know, they need to actually have a look, or would
Yeah.
they know? Would they know?
That's a good question. So here's what I would do. I would build a model just with this assumption, right? I would just build the whole thing. I mean, frankly, I mean, I'll pull the data in and I'll say revenue equals calculate some amount where amount is greater than zero, right? And I'll
Mhm.
say expenses is calculate sum of dollar amount where amount is less than zero.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'll give the whole thing to them, right? And whatever fields are there, I'll say, look, you can slice and dice it this way. So whatever fields are available, if there's a description, customer, whatever, product type, data, whatever that is, and so look, the model is done, and you can slice and dice it anyway, right?
Right, right.
And so they see the capability right away. So they don't have to wait to see what's possible. They see it right away, but of course it's not like accurate, but they see like, oh my gosh, all we have to do is, so that becomes a great motivator. And frankly, often they see it, and they're kind of sold in Power BI, if they needed to, right? So
Yeah.
so yeah, so
They
that
are,
one, that's could be one approach you take.
yeah, they are sold on Power BI already, but I think the trouble that I had was I didn't know whether what I was doing in Power BI was actually working because the numbers weren't making sense to me, at least.
Yeah,
So I was thinking maybe I should take some dummy data that I know the answers to and build a model
yeah,
kind of with their variables that they have, the field names and the
yeah.
structure they have, and just change the numbers to something I know what the results need to be.
Yes. Yes. So, Mark, let me just say, man, you're not alone. Right? I mean, I've walked that path a lot of times. And yeah, you look at that and it's like, I don't know. Right? So, my take would be, and again, it's just like one of the approaches, but uh, I try not to take dummy data. What I try to do is I try to really whittle down the data set to a smallish data set,
Right,
and just a single day, or even smaller if you need to go, right? Single day, single customer, something like that, whatever makes sense. And
right,
so if they're interested in like a daily trend, then I wouldn't then I may not filter down to a day. I may filter down to a single customer.
right.
If they're interested in like customer detail, then I would pick one customer, or something like that. You know what I mean? Or you can do both, right? It's all good, right? So I'll filter down, and not in the query editor. Now, of course, we can just use it in the filter pane, right? So I'll set up the filters here, and I'll say zero in on that, and I'll say okay. And frankly, I like when I've whittled down the rows so that they fit on one screen. I frankly like when they're like,
Yeah,
I don't know, 10 rows or less. I love
yeah,
that
exactly.
because, yeah, then I can put that in Excel and like, yep, I can like select them, sum them, do whatever I need to do. So that's small. It doesn't have to be. I mean, you can do it 200 as well. Again, you would probably export to Excel and just have that cross check. So, but then small enough, and then I'll say, hey, is this right? And then check with them and validate with them that, hey, look, I am looking at this data set. Is this right? And we'll say, okay, yeah, that is right, and then
Uh-huh.
go slowly from there. And then of course another thing that can help you is if they have existing reports,
Right,
then I say, okay, let's try to match it with that. Now I'll say that sometimes, man, that's a high bar for a lot of reasons, because for one, it's a giant step between validating that 10 rows work right and then you're switching to maybe 10,000 rows. So
right.
10 rows work, but 10,000 rows don't. Fuck, what do I do, right? I mean, where do I debug, right? So that's hard. So again, sometimes I take baby steps. I sometimes expand that to like a city or something like that, and then say, oh, this matches and so forth. And usually you stumble upon something that doesn't match. So that's one approach. Oh gosh, what was the other thing that I was gonna say? Um, oh gosh. And yeah, so another reason why that's a big jump, where you match 10 rows and that works, and then you go to the whole data set and it doesn't work. The challenge is that you can't assume that their number is correct. I mean, of course, I want to be respectful to them, and not definitely not say it out loud, but you got to leave that door open. And man, that can make your life hell, because you would turn your model upside down trying to match that fictitious number like 29307, and then after maybe a lot of work you would realize that, oh, there was a mistake in Excel, somebody fat fingered something, or some formula broke down or something. It's so yeah, so just watch out for that. Right, so
I found an error. I did find one, and I
uh-huh,
told the gentleman,
yeah,
and he said, "Thanks, man, for picking that up."
yeah,
So yeah, yeah, he was okay with that.
oh, brilliant, love it,
So we'll see. At our next meeting, it will
yeah,
either be a bit tough, or it's going to be, a good start from there.
yeah, good stuff, yeah, good luck, and of course, hey, we're here with guardrails for you, right? All right, cool,
Thanks,
man,
Avi.
thanks.
Thanks.
All right, that was a good question. So, folks, you have heard me talk about modeling, or I don't know, you call it modeling. I think that's the heart of it, right? How do you model? How do you build the model, right? And I'll admit that I have gained a new level of understanding just through you guys, right? So let's see if I can find it. Modeling. So let's see where where am I? Shoot, no, this is not it. I should really write an article about it. That way I can reference it. Oh yeah, there it is. So yeah, modeling is not DAX, right? So I know one gentleman was asking earlier, hey, how do I master DAX? But you realize that this is like an art, right? I mean, and it is so fun. It's you go back and forth with the client and yeah, it's really fun. I really love this process. But you realize it's so much more than just the text stuff, right? So it's kind of the assumptions that you're making that they're making. Are they implicit? Right? Implicit can be dangerous. You may not know that they're, and that can lead to problems. Or explicit are better ones, right? I prefer those. There's some stuff there, defensive programming. There are decision points. You got to translate from the human learning to machine learning. You're constantly scoping and rescoping, and this is one of my favorite tricks that I often use, where you black box something. So, for example, we would walk into a company and they wouldn't have their data, like data entry in order, right? So you can separate those two problems, and so forth. So anyway, so yeah, so as you heard from Mark, he's working with a client, and you see how it's kind of a dance, and yeah, I enjoy it. So I want you to enjoy it, and yes, technical skills are needed, but that's not the be all end all. Don't If you just stay focused on that, then I fear that that's not going to take you very far. Cool. So let's go over to YouTube and see what's going on. Loretta Sue is here from Tampa, Florida. Hello, Loretta Sue. Asif is here from Saudi Arabia, I guess. Sheikh says hi, I guess. If anyone need back end support, General Raj is offering his help. Shake. I don't know how to say your name. Sorry, Shake. I think. No experience, no worries. Um, so really quickly, yeah, Janu. So hey, folks, no solicitation. All right, so come on, that's not cool. All right, so you can offer to help, but you can't solicit customers. Um, do do do. Uh, all right, okay. Um, Tracy. Ooh, your question looks interesting. And folks, yeah, it helps if you give us a little more detail to go on. I know some of you earlier had questions as well. Oh, come on, YouTube. Okay, hold on, YouTube. Oh, wait, it's not frozen. Okay, I think I got it. All right. So, Tracy, we're going to take your questions. Hey, folks, on the phone. I'm just going to put you on mute while Tracy Spence. Let's do it. Try to figure it out. Okay, let's see. How do I? All right, so let's do 9:31. Tracy Spence, I have a question. It seems simple, but I've spent at least 6 hours this week trying to resolve. I'm trying to get a month-over-month running total based on account. Some seems obvious, but it won't use a formula. Column only. And when I try to create a calculated column, it doesn't work. My friend, you're breaking my heart. Don't use calculated columns, not for math. And if you want to know why, you can check out my tutorial. So by the way, anybody who's starting out, the great place to start is go to my channel. And when I'm not live, it's going to show up right here. But otherwise, it's right there. And don't worry about the playlist. Just focus on the first video, which is 1 hour long, just 60 minutes long. But it's great. Well, people say it's really good stuff. It's really good stuff. You know, it's really good, and it's gonna ground you in Power BI, and it's gonna give you the important stuff you need. One of those lessons is that, yeah, calculated columns, man, they feel like a dagger to my heart. It's gosh, yeah. So no calculated columns. All right. So let's just go with that for now. There are exceptions where calculated columns could be used, but they're pretty rare. All right. So I'm trying to get a month over month running total. So I'm not really sure. Month over month running total. Month over month running total. I'm not sure what. So when I hear month over month, I'm thinking comparison. I'm thinking July is compared to June, June is compared to May, that sort of stuff. But then you're saying running total, which in my mind is year to date or something like that. Weird. Mm, hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Got it. So okay. Hey. Yeah. Uh, Cumulative. Okay, cool. So, so cumulative month. Well, yeah, that should be. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it should be straightforward. So let me see if I can help you. So for one, anytime you have a date column in your data set, anything that looks like a date, right? If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it is a duck. So anything like a date, and could be the month as well. Some people say, "Oh, but I have monthly data. I don't have a date." Like, no, my friend, you have a date. Make it a date, right? So if you have a date column, you should have a date table, calendar table, and why just use any calendar table when you can use the ultimate calendar table? So of course it's inside my course, but you can find it on YouTube as well. So just go to my channel. And by the way, folks, this is the good stuff put together by the amazing Marianne in our team. She made sure that all of her best stuff was right at the top. So go through that, right? Uh, calendar table. So this one has a calendar table and has sales data, but it could be any data. It could be HR. It doesn't really matter what data it is. And you said something about a count or a sum. Actually, that part doesn't matter. It could be a count or a sum. So let's just go here. And let's see if we have a count and a sum. We do have an order count. Order count. Actually, this one might be a little tricky because this one had distinct count in there. Distinct count. You know what? I don't want that. I want a simple count rows for now. Okay, let's do a table. Order count. By the way, oh gosh, I forget. I think it was Sandeep who was saying he doesn't see the filter pane. If you don't see it here, you might see the filter pane over here. Hopefully, maybe somebody else helped you with that too. So right now we're helping Tracy, and she's having trouble with the cumulative. I do use Ultimate Calendar. Okay, got it. Cumulative. So let's go. So Tracy, yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on the comments, and throw something at me if I start going off track. But we'll see. All right. So order line item count, and ignore what it says, but it's basically count rows. That's it, right? And then we have sales. All right. So we have sales, and let's do it by month, by calendar, and we're gonna say months. And we are going to, should we do this actually? Or should we do month year? Let's try month year. Cross multiple. Oh, it's going to be so exciting. And by the way, folks, This is what I call a working pivot, right? So, well, I call it pivot. It's a list. I know. I come from an Excel background. Everything was a pivot. So, a pivot table. So, I call it a working pivot. This has nothing at all to do with how the data is going to be presented. This is just me kind of making sense of it. All right. So, so I get all of this. And you know what? I'll put a slicer on ear here as well. So there we go. And does somebody know, is there a way to default this to a list slicer? I would really like that. Every time I have to change it, list measure, I'm sure there is. And we have 1 year. Let's go to 2014. That had smaller numbers. All right, so you can see about 100, 200 each month, 2000. Got it. All right, so this is that. And for cumulative, what I'm going to do is, actually, I think I already have it probably. Sales year to date. Do I have it? I don't. Oh, cool. Let's define it. So I'll say, all right, it's coming. Yes, there it is. Sales year to date equals calculate and calculate, and I'll say the measure, sales, right? I'm big on reuse. I think of measures as Lego blocks, and then I'll call upon the time intelligence function, and all of the time intelligence functions, the first parameter is the same. It's your date column. Boop, 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 bam. That's just always the same. And this one, well, it just has an optional parameter, so that's it. That's all I need. And let's try it. So sales year to date. And let's do another one. And maybe I'll stick to order line item count. It's smaller numbers, so it'll be easier to see. And we'll say order li count. Oh, you know what? Might as well spell it out. Line item count year to date. And we'll just change, oh no, not sales. Order line item count. Boop, boop, boop. And let's try it. All right, look at us. Woohoo! So yeah, you can see January 146, 146 plus 156 is 290, 290, 12, 302. Ah, bingo, 302 it is, right? And I'm going to assume everything else is good. Now, of course, sometimes when I'm doing stuff like this, I connect an Excel sheet to my PowerPivot model because it's so much easier to validate things in Excel. I can just select a bunch of rows and it shows me some in the corner, but I'm going to assume it's working fine. So let me check in with Tracy and see if that's it. So yeah. By the way, time intelligence is so year to date, cumulative, running totals, year-over-year comparisons, all of that stuff. Handling fiscal calendars, which don't start in January, which start in maybe July. Microsoft's calendars start in July. A lot of government official calendars, like NASA and stuff, they start in October. It has to do with the funding, right? And some calendars start in February. So all of those scenarios are so easy to handle in the new world, the AP world after Power BI, and almost always they were really hard in the old world. So I love kind of this stuff. All right, so Tracy, I'm going to assume that worked well. So let me check in with the folks on the phone. So again, we tag team back and forth. We try to take one question. Cumulative totals. Man, you know what? Mark gets a gold star. That was a good question. So you got a gold star. If it is a real business scenario, not a hypothetical made-up one. Let's go, oh, Avi, I was testing out this DAX function and it's doing this in this data. I'm like, who made up this data? I'm like, oh, I made up the data. I'm like, I don't care. So it's a real business scenario, which it was. Mark is working with a real client. And so that's number one. Number two is it's seemingly a simple question. It's not complicated. It doesn't take like an hour to explain. A simple question, but the answer is, let's say, nuanced, right? It has got layers to it. All right. So on the phone, does anybody have any questions that they want to
Avi,
ask?
it's Ken.
Hey, Ken, go ahead.
I just had an idea this morning.
Go ahead and share.
Well, you know how important dashboards are.
Yes. Not as important in the model, but they are. Well, I don't know. Depends, right? Depends who you're talking to. Yes, dashboards are very important.
Okay, so if you imagine a chain of reports inside of an
Mm-hmm.
organization,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
The idea is that at whatever level somebody creates a dashboard, that
Mm-hmm.
all the people below them in the chain should have basically their own version of the same dashboard.
Yes, of course.
That which Power BI would be great for with it. So it's like if my boss is looking at something on a dashboard, I should be able to see the same dashboard as it pertains to me.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, I totally agree.
anyway, no biggie. Just
So
a
is
way
is
to
it
vastly expand the scope of Power BI work inside of an organization.
so is that your idea?
Yeah, that's my idea.
Yeah, I think that's a powerful idea. So folks, think about it. So let me kind of play it out a bit, and I'm sure folks on the phone would resonate because hey, I know this was my life as well. Um, where in a lot of companies, so think about an org hierarchy, right? So there are whatever senior VPs, and within that there are departments, and then there are teams, and then there is good old me, Avi at the bottom of the food chain, and so you have this whole kind of chain going up and down, and oftentimes, not always, but quite often, there was this whole confusion where so management always got their reports, always. So executive management always got the reports. Now, whether the reports were accurate, who knows? I mean, often it was kind of crazy. I mean, I've sat in those meetings, and they would it'll be like a PowerPoint presentation which was cobbled together last night, and a lot of kind of copy paste, and there's no what is called I think it's called lineage. I'm not sure, maybe that's the term, but like, where did the data come from? Like, how do you validate it? Somebody says, oh, is this like, where do you go? Oh, it's been copy pasted from somewhere, right? So it's kind of hard to trace it, all of that sort of stuff. But anyway, regardless of that, they got a picture. They got a dashboard, and they may see a number, and they may like it, they may not like it, and then but then say, oh, this number is bad, what are we doing, da da da, and the manager flips the lid and very upset, and then the saying, shit rolls downhill. So it eventually would roll downhill to me, and but I wouldn't have access to any data. All I would hear is maybe somebody really upset me, like, "Oh, this is not working well," and right. So yeah. So what Kenneth is saying is that, yeah, why shouldn't this be the case? So of course, in the cases where this has worked, what I've seen is that companies define key KPIs, right? And and they would say, well, this is what's important to us, right? We want to care about, and of course, over time you would get more sophisticated. So initially you might say, oh, you want the sales to be this, and that's okay. That's a great place to start. Money matters, my friend, right? But then you might realize that, man, I mean, sales, the biggest factor behind our sales, and I'm just making it up, is customer satisfaction, right? So if you can keep them happy, then maybe you have a subscription model or something like that, right? And in a subscription model, your customer satisfaction is key, right? Or something like that. And of course, it could be anything else, doesn't matter, right? And then you say, oh, you know what? So our KPI is going to be about this. or and of course, like, and it could be something else, right? So example, actually, yeah, you can come up with your own examples, right? So you define your set of KPIs, and then you create a dashboard on the set of KPIs, and but then, yeah, the CEO has access to the whole company, and then the senior VP who's handling operations has access to, or who's handling, I don't know, one product unit, has access to their set of data. Like, this is the KPIs for my product unit, and on till the bottom of the food chain. Avi Singh has access to his own stuff. By the way, folks, we have had some amazing past Talk Power BI shows, and I frankly, I like the live nature. I like hanging out with you guys, being able to chat with you, and of course talk to my students as well. But it's kind of unfortunate that Talk Power BI, I know people don't always go back and watch something, but I will point out one which is very relevant, and it's one of the best Talk Power BI sessions. I think so. Yeah, for me it is. Is if you go, so, and by the way, if you go to my channel, you have access to all of the past recordings here, and you can also click search here. So I think that one was. Let me see if I can. By Vivek Patel. Shoot. What was it? It was by Vivek Patel. I'm trying to remember what it was called. Ah, this is it. This is it. This is exactly, Kenneth, what you're talking about. So, yeah, organizational level dashboard, and you can see, right? I mean, this was just a brilliant talk where, yeah, I mean, you define the key KPIs and whatever was important to them, right? PO confirmation, demand LT, and they had targets for each of them, and you can see it's kind of red or green, and every person sees their dashboard. How amazing would that be if an organization would, like, line up and snap, and they're all pulling in the same direction?
Avi.
Yeah.
So they're like two killer consequences. You should be able to see the dashboard of everybody above you.
That's pretty controversial, though. Sometimes some organizations don't like that. They don't even allow
No,
it.
no, I know it is, but
Yeah. I
and
mean,
the other
I
killer
think I agree
consequence
with
is
you.
people can no longer wait till the end of the month and then manipulate their data for the report to whoever is above them.
What do you mean manipulate their data?
Well, it's time for the meeting and there are going to be reports, and then people go massage the data. Haven't you seen
Yeah.
that? I see that
Well,
all the
I,
time.
I have, but Power BI pretty much, well, if they're gonna manipulate, if they, I don't know, it depends how bad they want it, right? I mean, uh,
No,
I
no,
don't know.
no.
That
It
goes
just
to
means
company
that's going to be a
ethics or
big
something.
change for people. They no longer,
Yeah.
basically their data is no longer hidden from the eyes above them until they submit the report. The eyes
Ah, I see what you're
above them
saying.
can look at their data all the time. So
Yeah.
it that's a big change, I think.
I like that. That is really powerful. So let me see. I agree with Kenneth 100%, folks. You let us know if you think you agree, and it doesn't matter if you agree or not. Like, is this going to be, is does it seem currently feasible in your organization? Like, people. So the first idea, and man, Kenneth, I'm glad you kind of drilling down into this. So we started with that. Hey, there should be a dashboard which everybody in the hierarchy chain should have access to, kind of their own version, and you should be able to uh, view dashboards at higher level. Kind of. So I should be. So I see, look at my dashboard, what I'm responsible for. Great, but then if I'm reporting to Dwayne, uh, then I should be able to see. Okay, well, how am I kind of influencing the whole group? And that can be really empowering. It can be really empowering to not feel like cogging the machine. It's like, oh, cool. Oh man, I do this, and then I did this, and this is how it connects to my manager's dashboard and higher up. So that's one idea, and then this is not a month end thing, not a month end thing, right? Not something that once a month, they're like, oh, cool. And then suddenly it's that big reveal. They remove the curtain. They're like, ta-da, these are numbers. No, they should be clearly visible as a month progresses. Brings a lot of transparency. And not just that. It's not just good for that. It's also, hey, it helps me be on track. Like, if I only see the number at the month end, then how do I know that I'm going to land right? Right? I mean, and same thing for my manager and their manager. I mean, they're responsible for the whole thing. So, so yeah, both good ideas there.
And one last point.
Yeah.
This is basically copied from Salesforce, what they call MOMS. Everybody has goals, a goals statement that they
Yeah.
track their progress on. And everybody can see the goals, the live goals and progress
Yeah.
of everybody up the hierarchy from them,
Yeah.
all the way to the top of Salesforce.
Wow.
Uh,
So they are using this model that you
so
talked
this is
about.
not a pie in the sky kind of
Yeah.
idea.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, I've definitely come across, and yeah, these organizations are usually are doing really well. I mean, yeah. So they're yeah, this definitely works. Thanks for sharing that. That's great. All right, let's see. So we're gonna switch back and take a look at YouTube. uh, invalidate. Yes, you can definitely, Tracy. You can watch the recording. It's gonna be available right after. Actually, you might be able to rewind it in here in the live. I'm not sure. Sometimes YouTube allows that, I think. Also use count A versus count rows. Yeah, it shouldn't matter, right? The if you notice the measures that I wrote, you can stick in anything in there, right? So if you want X to be year to date, X being any measure, then you say calculate X dates year to date. That's it. So whatever, it doesn't matter. Actually, it does matter in some cases, but I wouldn't go there yet. All right, so let's see.
Avi, there's a question in the chat someone's trying to draw attention to.
Okay. Folks, so thanks for letting me know. A question as well. Hey, folks, can you unmute yourself and talk? That is easiest for me. Yeah, when I'm looking at chat, I usually just look at the YouTube chat. Mikola, I think you had a question. Can you unmute yourself?
Hi.
Hello there. How's it going?
Hey, it's good. Nice to talk to you again.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
What's going
so
on?
if you remember 2 weeks ago, you helped me identify who would own a specific relationship at different levels of hierarchy. Do you remember that?
No. Okay, I can jog my memory. Hold on. Let me kind of dissect it. Okay.
The last story you went back to was mine. You copied it from my name. Yeah, there we go. Mika path function, August
Path of
23rd.
child. So we were trying to figure out. Yes. Yeah, that was an interesting one. Oh, I did get a gold star too. Well deserved, I'm sure. So okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
cool. Yep.
that Microsoft table at the bottom.
Yeah, did we have a Power BI file to go with it, or did we just talk about it
Yes, we
theoretically?
did. You have a Power BI file as well. It's called Miko. It starts with Miko.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, hold on. Let me pull that up. You may or may not need it, but
So the
okay.
challenge I'm encountering right now
Mm-hmm.
that we, of course, this model it worked perfectly. What you created,
Great.
but when people, so we have five or up to six different tiers in the organization.
Uh-huh.
So parents just rolling up or children organizations rolling down.
Yeah.
6 connections
Okay.
with function.
Uh-huh.
And the problem that I'm facing is that when people look for a certain organization, they'll type its name in the filter in the search function, and then bring them to that organization,
Got it.
but won't show who is underneath them as well
Ah,
because they're just for that organization's name, right? And what they could do is search for the level which it is on. So if it's level 3 in the path function, they would go to the level 3 name, pull it up, and then search in there. But they wouldn't necessarily know what level an organization is on in the path or in the parent-child hierarchy. How many tiers it would be down from the top.
all right. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we can do. So,
Yeah. So this would be perfect. And maybe, so basically the issue would be, um,
so we don't have that many levels here, but
yes, if we just added one more level, I think that would basically sum up the problem.
okay.
Or if
Okay.
you were just to add a filter with this, with company level 1, or just company name.
Company, what is company level? Company
Company
name.
name would be company level 2, actually. Yeah, if you're turning that into a filter.
Oops. Okay.
Let's say, so if you click Microsoft,
Uh, oh, you want everything underneath.
then it doesn't show everything underneath Microsoft. It'll only show Microsoft, right? And
Yeah.
since, I mean, we're talking about one parent with 1,000 children organizations, right? So
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
be really hard to just go in and find that type of thing, right?
Ooh, I think I get it, but this is a hierarchy like any hierarchy. Let me take you to another one, which is let's get rid of this guy. Hold on, just give me 1 second here.
Yeah, of course.
Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna take a quick look at um, so if you can hold on. You said, could you please help me how to convert the positive no to negative no based on conditional? We'll come back and help you. So folks, yeah, folks on YouTube, just hold on. In here, I got this. I got this. Come on. You can do it, Power BI. It's doing something. Okay. We got that. And let's copy this slicer as well. Don't think. All right, all right. Oh, shoot. No, not this. All right, folks. So I'll think out loud, otherwise it gets awkward on YouTube. So what I'm trying to do is to kind of look at the same problem from a different lens. And frankly, I don't really know what I'm going to find here, but yeah, I think it would help. Certainly, it would help me for sure. So I'm just gonna look at it from a different perspective and see. So I'm just trying to recreate a similar issue but with a different hierarchy and see what we were talking about here. Okay, so we go here and oops.
Avi, it's Kenneth.
Hey, Kenneth.
Could this somehow be a problem that the different levels of the hierarchy have different granularity, so they appear and disappear in the report?
Yeah, I have no idea yet. And guys, is it only me? Do you accidentally create hierarchy when you drag things on there? It really ticks me off. And I think I had submitted an idea to say, hey, please ask me. When I drag something on there, just ask me. Like, hey, do you want to create a hierarchy? But anyway, all right. So Kennedy, I don't really know. Let's see. So Mikola. Mm, well, let's look at a different hierarchy. All right. So, and again, I mean,
Yeah.
this might be like way off, but I'm not sure. We'll see what we find out. Is that I have category and I have subcategory,
Yeah.
right? And if I want to see bikes and everything underneath, I'll select bikes at the category level and I see everything underneath. If I want to see a specific subcategory, I will select in subcategory, right? So uh, that's how hierarchies should work. Imagine if it was a region, country, state. I select the region North America and I see everything under that. If I select USA, I see USA, right? And everything under that. So shouldn't it work like that?
I mean, of course, it should work like that.
Yeah.
So, problem we're facing is that basically all the hierarchies just came from a path function, right? So,
Doesn't matter how they were created. It's a hierarchy. It's a real thing, right? I mean, like, and
yeah,
again, sometimes like if you
but
geographically, people understand like country, state.
mhm,
So doesn't matter how it came from. You select U.S. and you see all states, and yeah. So let's go with that. Uh,
absolutely.
so why? How is your scenario different?
So, the issue we're facing is that every hierarchy is
Mm-hmm.
just a company name at a different level of the hierarchy.
Mm,
So, we have, um, like, if we go back to this, yeah,
yeah,
this
yeah, and
visualize,
that's
if we
that's
go back to
not
this,
that's not the issue. Every hierarchy is not the company name. You do have a hierarchy. That's why we flattened it.
yes,
Otherwise, that's why we created these levels. Otherwise, we would not have bothered with it. We just had company name. Just go with that, right? So you do have a
yeah,
hierarchy. It's not just a company name, and you've already separated that out. You have a level one and you have a level two, which is not different than product category and subcategory. It is not different than country and region. So the way this operates, that's how that's going to operate. If you want to filter to North United States, you select here and you see, well, I don't have that detail here, but you
yeah,
see the regions in US. So the filters need to be at that level. It can't be company name. That's just how the data came in. That is not the hierarchy, I would argue.
yeah. Well, yeah. So I agree with you that that is how it works.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if there's a way to make it work differently, because the problem with that we're
Yeah.
facing
Yeah.
is that our business users, they're
Yeah.
not extremely adept at
Yeah.
using these types of things.
Yeah.
So then they would need
Yeah.
to level one. Okay, the company I wanted didn't show up, and then they go to the next box. They search in level two,
Yeah.
and then they would need to search in level three if they're not there. And
Yeah.
it's just like quite a long process
Yeah. So
to
so
be able to
guys,
show.
oh my gosh, yeah. So guys, this is really good. This is really good. Oh man. Mika, two in a row, my friend. What is this? So I'm gonna give it a go through right away because I think this one is really interesting. So certainly it's a legitimate business case, and it's a simple enough ask. I mean, this one had some nuances in the question, and yeah, okay, cool. So I'm kind of getting it. I'm feeling it. So the users, they're just not used to it. They're just used to seeing the company name. There is a hierarchy, and maybe at some point, sometimes you just start working with Power BI, and it takes some take you got to train the user. So you might be able to train the user to understand the level 1 and level 2, and then make the slicers that way. But that's not where you're right now. Uh,
Yeah.
so
And
I
the problem
yeah,
is that we have until level 6. So then
yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure
it's,
if it'll fully solve it, but there is a custom visual which can do like a hierarchy slicer.
yeah,
Uh,
I was thinking that.
and again, I have no idea. I mean, right now I'm like, ooh, that could be really cool. Uh,
Hey, Avi.
hey Ken, yeah, go ahead.
It,
Time brush.
and the
Oh, there it is.
idea that you could do it, but it would be hard for the users to understand,
Yeah,
right? It may be that you need to think about flattening all the levels of the higher of the into like a technical table that the users pick a company from, and then you have to figure out what level it's at, whatever.
Yeah. So
uh,
we have done that. We're actually already there for that solution. But
hmm,
the problem is that so the idea is that they would go and search the company, and then basically all
yeah,
the
yeah,
other would boil down, and they would choose the first level that has the company name, right?
Yeah, I'm
But
yeah.
not
it's
certain
still
how you would make the report respond to their choice of company.
I mean,
Um,
if things are done right, that should be automatic, right? That shouldn't be any different than us selecting bikes in category, right? I mean, that's how simple it should be, right? So
yeah.
right, so yeah, but there's something here, and I'm not sure if that's exactly what Ken meant, but so I'm gonna write it down before I forget it. So one idea, the first idea that we had was, which was show separate slicers at different levels, right? So country, region, this is product, category, subcategory, and that would definitely work, no doubt about that. And that is like the classic approach in hierarchies. Hierarchies are everywhere, and that's the default approach that I would recommend to everybody. Now, of course, in this case, Miko said that, well, that's users are not familiar looking at that way, used to company name, and that's okay, right? So that's what we're exploring. And the other option that I thought was hierarchy slicer. We'll evaluate that, see how it works, and uh, I think what Kenneth is saying has a law has something there. So this is what I'm thinking, Miko. So in your data set, you had kind of the path thing and so forth, right? So in this case, it was kind of Microsoft, da da da, right? But we remake the company name in a different way so that these two are differentiated. And frankly, I'm not even sure what it's going to do to a model and measures and everything we did last week. But that could give us some clarity, right? So redo company name, the flat path with kind of variation. So now it doesn't just say Microsoft, it says Microsoft level 1, and then within that it says Microsoft level 2, and then it has APAC, EMEA, LATAM. These guys don't need a differentiator. And so imagine now if somebody searched for
Ah,
Microsoft. Yeah, you see how simple and like brilliant it is, if I may say so. Oh gosh, well I can't say so because it wasn't my idea. But now they say and they maybe click this and say, oh, that didn't give me what I want. And you don't even have to teach them. They would discover this on their own. They say, oh, this didn't work. Oh, but I have the other result. Let me select that one. All right, so
so then they would just type in the company name.
yep, Yep.
choose the top
Yeah,
level.
exactly. So by the way, I'll go off on a little bit of a tangent here. Um, when you think about like usability of the report, right? Usability is important. There are two components to it. One is I don't know, and maybe all of it may not apply directly to this. And so discoverability and intuitive. Let me maybe give a counter example. So we're going off on a bit of a tangent, but it's going to be a fun tangent. So if we look at the way drill through works, it's it's not very discoverable. So I'm looking at this, and just looking at this. Oops. Let's try that again. I There is no visual cue. There's nothing to help the human discover that this can be drilled into. I don't know. I mean, right? So again, sure, if we hover over it, then I do see some special icons, but I might not hover on it. Why would I hover on it? There's nothing which is calling me, asking me to move my mouse there, right? So, but what if there was something? If there was something, it would make it more discoverable, right? And you know, so yeah, so drill down is not my favorite UI experience here, right? So it's not very discoverable. And is it intuitive? Oh my gosh, man! I think anything that needs four buttons is not intuitive. So I struggle with this, and often I struggle communicating with my clients on how to do this as well, like teaching them each of these buttons, what they mean. Frankly, the way I tackle it is I just say right click and drill down, and you know that drill down, drill up, and that works. So that's how I manage it. So anyway, so not to I mean Power BI awesome, team is doing a great job, but this is one of my sticky points. So if we think about this, man, this one, I think. So, by the way, I was playing. I took my daughter to the dentist. This is becoming a longer story than I imagined, but bear with me. I took my daughter to the dentist. I think yesterday, and this is pretty cool because this is the Highlands Kids Dentistry. And I was like, oh man, how brilliant is that? You just don't open like, oh hey, I'm a dentist. So I always talk about the power of niching down. So the guy's like, no. And you walk in, and the whole thing is decorated like a zoo. There are like fake animals hanging from everywhere. It's really awesome, and they of course use laughing gas on their patients. But anyway, I'm there and I'm bored. It's taking longer than I expected, so I'm playing the Harry Potter game on Xbox, I think, and and I would say the game was well designed because initially I struggled, but a lot of features I kind of discovered on my own. So it was pretty discoverable, and I would say intuitive as well. Anyway, coming back to this, so I like the solution because, as I said, you might. I mean, obviously, I mean, if Miko kind of goes out and does this, he might send a communication, but people don't listen, they don't read the email, da da da. But what I like about this is that it's kind of discoverable, and I think it's intuitive too. All right, cool. So let's come back and check out the last option, which is the hierarchy slicer. I was going to try it in AdventureWorks.
If I may say, um, I'm wondering how we would actually add that level to the name.
Sorry, say again?
I'm wondering how we would actually add different levels to the name.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like at first glance it looks really easy, but
Yeah.
then how do you actually make it come out as a different name everywhere if you're working off of the original org name?
Yeah, that's an
Avi,
interesting problem, right? Yeah.
I'd like to volunteer. I think it's really interesting. If he wants to take it offline, I'd be glad to meet separately and look at the actual data model.
Yeah. Yep. You guys, yeah, find each other. You guys are on Facebook for sure, or Learn Private Community. Yeah, you might be able to send a direct message in here as well to each other. I've never tried that. I'm sure it works. Okay, cool. So hierarchy slicer, and of course, Miko. I mean, no obligation. I mean, you can, yeah. So, all right. So let's see. Hierarchy slicer. Okay, cool. So hierarchy slicer. I'm gonna add. Should I try product category and subcategory? Did that work? Okay, cool. So I see how it is working this way here. And I'm gonna try to see if we can get it to work here. Or how it works here. I'm actually really excited about this solution as well. And the advantage of this is that it's add zero first. Okay. It might not be any additional work at all. You wouldn't have to like rename stuff and things like that. All right, folks. So we are. All right, we're doing this. Yes. Hierarchy slicer. And it's not very happy with me. Why? Okay. All right, we go here and we say company level 1, company level 2. Oh boy, I'm actually oh, there is a search box. I was getting nervous because I was like, hey, I'm not sure if there's a search box. All right,
Yeah, I was
so
wondering about that too.
so let's go in here, and of course we have a very small sample. But if this search for Microsoft, what does it show up? Oh shit, it shows everything. Oh dang it.
Could
Okay,
you
not a great example,
minimize
but
Microsoft actually, and then search for Microsoft APAC?
okay, let me just search for APAC. Let's see what that does. Yeah, I'm not really happy with the interface yet. Well, maybe that's just me playing with it. Man, these buttons are really small. What is this? Clear. These are so small. So they can kind of if you minimize it, and sorry about the flicker. Let's see if we can make it bigger. All right. So if you you're gonna collapse everything and then you search for something, it doesn't kind of it's not what I would like to see. It searches, but it just just shows Microsoft. So I think this was incredibly promising. I think still is. I would like you to try it out with your own data, and maybe try it yourself. Maybe you find it okay. Try it with a user, see how it works. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes what I do is I don't like tell them anything. I just say, hey, here's a way to filter. I want you to go ahead and try it, and I just want to see how you do. And for like 2 minutes, don't answer any questions. See how they're doing themselves. So
Yeah.
so try it out. And of course, the advantage of this is that nothing else required, right? I mean, hierarchy, and they see visually that, oh, I mean, and again, I think it has some elements of that discoverability and intuitiveness where they can visually see that, oh, this is at 2 levels. Cool. So well,
Really happy with that solution, honestly. I mean, that's
yeah,
honestly closer than I thought we would get, and
yeah,
it's just a lot more intuitive than what I had thought out before, where they would search the company name
yeah,
and then through the different levels of
yeah,
filters till they find something to click on, right?
yeah, and
There, it's a huge improvement.
all right, great. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's really good. And I'll say, man, I'm really hesitant with any custom visuals. I'm not quite sure why I'm that way. Well, there are reasons actually, but I wouldn't go to that. But so I'm really hesitant. But I think in this scenario, it fits really well. Let's go back, and of course you have the kind of offer from Kenneth to help you out. And I would definitely say, yeah, post it. Why not have the whole group benefit from it? If you do want to go this route, just post it in the Facebook group, and Kenneth can come back with you on there, and that way the group kind of sees too what you guys came up with. Really quickly though, just kind of just walk on this path. Like, how would you do level 1, level 2? Um, yeah.
I could understand how we would build it out in Path. You would just pull in the name and then add text level 1 for the whole column, right?
Yeah, but the challenge is that I think it would be ugly to have everything labeled, because for most of the stuff is not needed.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I would like to do is I think it's a job for the. Oh gosh, yeah, this is tricky because we're doing it in the path function, right? Which is kind of
Yeah.
the right way. Yeah, I mean, man, I would have liked to have that path function in query editor. I missed that one. Frankly, this is the scenario where I do calculated columns in here, because otherwise everything I can do in query editor. But in query editor, I think this would be simple to kind of detect and say, oh, only add this if I'm the same as level 1 or something like that. Actually, I think
It
in
could
calculated
be,
column,
it could just be a lookup value, if lookup
yeah.
value.
Actually, you know what? It might be really easy as well. So all you're saying is, so you have already flattened out the hierarchy like this, and you would say, hey, if, and maybe this is like company level 2 step 1, or interim name, or maybe you do a new column, and in new column, all you say is, hey, if company level 1 equals company level 2, if they're the same, then the new company level 1 is Microsoft brackets level 1, the new company level 2 is Microsoft brackets level 2, that sort of stuff. So yeah, kind of that bad. But yeah, try the hierarchy slicer, see how that goes. If that really doesn't work, then come back and do this. So of course, the thing about that is, I mean, and in general with Power BI is that there's so much that's possible. Right? I mean, you can do anything you want, but I'm always a little bit wary of kind of complexity, in the sense that you need to realize that it's a cost that you don't just pay once. So if you were to add this logic in there, level 1, level 2, you would pay it the first time, which is when you're figuring out how do I do this, and maybe that's not that hard. But then there's the additional cost which accrues over time, because now that you've introduced this complexity, every time you come back to this model, and hey, you come back to it a week, 30 days, 6 months from now, you're not going to remember this stuff. You're going to have to deal with that complexity, right? So, and of course, if somebody else takes this over or all of that, they're going to deal with this too. So, right. So, I mean, Power BI is great, but yeah, I'm always, kind of careful about my choices. And if I can choose a simple solution, I will. All right, cool. So great discussion. So this was a little more involved. So I think so for the folks with the gold star, the 3 rules are that the first one is that it's a real business scenario, which it was. The second is that it's kind of a simple question, which this one was a not that simple, because it's a build up on the last discussion we had, but still simple enough. And the third is that the answer is nuanced, which of course we've been talking about it for quite a bit. So all right, so I'm going to recap it here. So this is problems selecting different hierarchy levels. Okay, cool. So let's go back to what is the time? 10:30. Hey, folks, it's time to open up the call lines. So let's so as promised, right? So the order here is, if we take some questions from the students, well, we take one from the student, and when you go back YouTube chat. And this time I got carried away with Mikola's question, so I didn't pay that much attention to YouTube. But I'm back, my friends. And so if you want to dial in, just go to talkpowerbi.com and join the Insiders Club if you haven't already. And you are going to need a password. And the password for today, so join www.talkpowerbi.com, and then use password today is drive. Okay, did that work?
I wanted to say thank you again. I really appreciate it, by the way.
Absolutely. Yep. Glad to be of help. And of course, Kenneth pitched in as well. Kenneth, thanks for that. So folks, yeah, the password for today is drive. If you do go to Talk Power BI and sign up, then you would get access to our Insiders Club, which looks like this. It's got a cool hangout place. As much as the web page can do. It tries, my friend. So you get access to all the notes that we're taking. You get access to any Power BI file. And you get access to the call-in link. And by the way, if you may or may not agree with me, but I believe that the best way to learn, maybe the only way to learn, is by doing. Right? I mean, man, it's just like it's on steroids. Yeah, it's just crazy. I love it. And I love kind of working with real data. Please save me from AdventureWorks Contoso any day. Throw me a line. So give me some real scenarios. So I love that. And if you're in a situation where you can apply Power BI at your workplace, that's great. Run with it as far as you can. And as I always say, hope my kids are not watching right now. It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. You don't need to get somebody's nobody has to bless you that, oh, you're the Power BI person in the company. What the heck? Nobody cares. Just go ahead and do it, right? So go do that. But sometimes if you're in a situation where, I don't know, you don't have that opportunity at work, then hey, this is like a gold mine. You can go through the archives, and now that we have started doing this gold star thing, which we didn't earlier, look for the gold star. You have the recording. You can go back for that, or you can pause the question and try to solve it yourself and see how far you get, and then play the recording, and then just compare your solution with mine, right? So if you're looking for ways to learn, this can be a way to learn. Actually, I was going to say this is a great way to learn. I think there's a better way to learn, and the better way is to join our Learn Power BI program. So, if you have the opportunity, then go join that, because that is, well, frankly, that's the next step, right? So if you found me on kind of YouTube, you went through my Power BI tutorial, you went through some of the other videos, and then like, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready for the next step. And of course, the next step involves going deeper into these topics and having this community around you to support you in this agile learning cycle. Cool. So folks, if you join on the phone, announce yourself, and again, the password is drive. If you join the Insiders Club, just click the call-in link, and this one, not that one, and use the password drive. All right, let's see if you got any questions. Okay, Tracy is talking to Mass. Oh gosh, yeah, Samuel, you're gonna make me Google this. So, ragged hierarchy. I don't remember what it is. Image. What is that? I wouldn't pretend that I remember what it is. All right, cool. So Sam has a comment on ragged hierarchies. Yep, I'll support that. Okay, so Paul. Paul and I think Tracy and Mass are having a conversation there. Great, guys. So if you need my help, Tracy, you can hop on the call and you can talk to me. You can share your screen if you need to. All right. So maybe let's. So I didn't see any new questions on YouTube. So folks, if I missed your question earlier, just post it again. Yeah, and I'll take a look, but let me go back to folks on the phone and see if anybody has any question on the phone.
Hey, Avi, this is Ansgar.
Hey, Oscar, how are you doing?
Hello, good morning.
Hi
Thanks
there.
for hanging out.
Absolutely.
Hey, I asked a question on Zoom. It's about the edit interactions functionality,
Yeah.
which filters visuals across the report. And there's filtering and there's highlighting, and I never really get something that I would love to see, and maybe you have an answer for that.
Oh, okay. So, okay, cool. I'll share kind of what I know.
Okay.
And hold on, let me bring up something that we use inside the course.
Because I think I technically understand what's going on, but I think I need a trick, and maybe that is in dApps, how to do things a little bit differently there.
Yeah. Yeah, I use edit interactions kind of carefully, and
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you why. Let me bring up the oh shoot visuals. Oh, there we go. There we go. I had ya. Maybe this one. All right, folks. So the question is on edit interactions, and I'm opening up a new Power BI file. Maybe I could have done it here as well. So sales versus budget. So Oscar, the way I see it, that the default behavior in Power BI is to cross highlight, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if I click on kind of bikes, then everything gets cross highlighted, and it shows me what portion of that is made up of bikes, some stuff like that. So depending on what kind of visuals you have, right? So this is showing me that overall the number is this is for the bikes. Actually, maybe that's not a great example. Let's try accessories.
So I'm already seeing something that the bikes on the visual variance by category, the one to the right from the one that you clicked on,
This
is
one
already
over here.
is filtered.
Well, not really. It'll
Not
still
not really.
highlight, but it's so accessories are
Oh yeah,
so
no, I
small.
see.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm actually. Let me see if
Uh,
there's
oh,
a.
okay.
Yeah, this one is. Let me try this. Let me change
Mm-hmm.
this one to a column chart. All right. So if I click on June, then you can see that it's kind of highlights, right? So
Yeah.
and it's numbers that are additive. You will see the whole thing, which is going to be bigger, and you will see, oh, but June is here. And
Yes.
that's not bad. Frankly, in this case, it's useless. It's not helpful
Mm-hmm.
because what am I trying to convey here, right? It's just not very useful. But in some scenarios, this can be very insightful, having it highlight like this. Like, oh, you see the big number, and you
Yeah.
see exactly, oh, okay, got it. So this component contributes that much to this. So that's the default behavior. Now, of course, so this one, this sales and budget, that's like a cumulative sum, right? So you see the total and you see the actual value. For other
Yeah.
measures, it can be something totally different. So this light red thing is showing, hey, this is where the year, total year was, and June was like a bad month, right? So June, the variance for bikes category was actually sorry. I think this is positive. So anyway, you get the idea. I don't think the conditional formatting in this is right. Um, yeah, this is negative. This side should be positive, should be green. But anyway, ignore that. But so
Mm-hmm.
you basically get the overall number and you get the number for the one you selected. And the same thing here. You get the overall number and you get the number for the stuff you selected. But in a lot in some cases it's not like helpful. It's not what you want to see. I mean, this is certainly one of them. And often this also happens for stuff which is like too small. Like I want to see accessories, but accessories is so small that when it highlights, everything just
Yeah.
disappears. So
That's
so
right.
right. So again, the default is highlight, and it's a reasonable option, right?
Mm.
But then you can change it, and you can change it, I think, even in a global setting. I think if you can go in options and you can say, no, I don't want the default to be, I want the default to be filter, not that.
Mm.
Or you can do it selectively based on specific interactions, right? So in this case, I'll ignore that for now. So what I can say is, so edit interactions. So first is, in my mind, what I think about is as like an anchor, right? So like which visual do I want to change the way it interacts with other visual? And right now, I'm focused on this one. Right? So I'm focused on this one, and I want to change how it interacts with other visuals. So I anchor this, I select this, and
Mm-hmm.
then I go to I always
Format.
forget format,
Yeah.
and I turn this on. So this is edit interaction is a toggle. It's on or it's off.
Yes.
When it's on, it lets you control the interactions. When it's off, then it's gone, right? So
Yep.
so now I've toggled it on, and now this one is selected, and now I can say that, oh, since I know that this behavior was abysmal, I mean, this was, when somebody selected accessories, it looked like crap.
Yeah.
I'm going to change it to filter, and you're going to
Mm-hmm.
see the difference right away. So now, see how everything changed, right? So now, if I click on accessories, I can actually see, right? I mean, I can see that. Yep, I mean, well, these numbers are kind of close, but still, I can make something out. In highlight mode, I couldn't tell anything, right? So
Can you do one thing?
yeah,
Put the data labels on sales and budget by month,
yeah.
or for the horizontal bar variance by category. So when the data labels are on, then you
Yeah.
also see the effect of filtering is that values are ignored and they turn
Oh,
to zero. And
yeah.
that looks really weird because
Yes.
the
I
bar is still there, but it shows
Yeah.
zero.
It's yeah. Frankly, I don't think that's right. I mean, I really think that's almost a bug
Mm,
because it's clearly these are the only numbers it's showing. If due to
yeah,
some bizarre reason it started showing the totals and this both, which would be crazy. So then the rounding should be only based on this,
yeah.
not that bigger number, but that's what it's doing. So that I
Mm,
think almost should be kind of filed as a bug.
okay.
But yeah, I didn't know this problem, and yeah, you're right. It's kind of worse. So let me come back and change this to filter. So yeah, so filter, this one now works a bit better. Now, of course, there are some other graphs which are really bad at highlights,
Hmm.
and of course, inside the course you have access to the visualization module. That's the example that I'm using, and and
Okay.
I and I talk about that in there as well. And frankly, I don't have that much love for pie charts anyway. I know it's controversial. Um, as long as you understand that why, I mean, I follow Stephen Few, but whoever you follow, like, why does Stephen Few say that no pie charts? As long as you understand the reason, I'm okay if you use it. No, at least knowing that. Oh yeah, I realize the impact. Oh boy, I'm trying to find the column cluster drill down color pie chart. Do I not have a pie chart here? Wow. Oh well. Anyway, so if this, let's just change this one, and let's just change this one for really quick. So you probably already know, but yeah, I'm gonna share it with the YouTube crowd at least. Sales. Did that work? Oh, value. My bad. Uh, um, that is not what I expected. Seems it still has the conditional formatting.
Hmm.
Let's try this. Ah, perfect. Okay, so not a great example anyway. So pie charts. Really quickly, why does Stephen Few doesn't like them? Because Oh, you know what? I wouldn't go there. All right. So pie charts are kind of hard to read anyway. It's and humans we think we're good, but we actually kind of really suck at it. So pie charts are hard either way, but the behavior that they have with highlight is just insane. It's just and man, I mean, this data set is kind of weird anyway, but accessories. Let's look at that. Oh well, that wasn't. Yeah, I mean, data set. Let me try something else. Let me try mountain bikes. Let's try that. Yeah. So if
By
pie
the way,
charts.
what I'm using is a stacked bar, 100% stacked bar chart.
Yeah. Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah,
Okay. But
yeah.
but yeah, I think if you're using pie chart, fine. As I said, as long as you know why it's not supposed to be used, and due to whatever reason you're still using it, that's fine. But if you do this, that's just I don't know. This is unacceptable. So whenever I
Mm,
use a pie chart, I think that one has to be filtered, because the highlight
mm.
thing I think is just unreadable. So yeah, for some visuals it might be worse than the other, right? So yeah, that's what I look for, and then I kind of custom tune it. So yeah, hopefully that helped give you some kind of guidance on edit
Mm.
interactions.
Yeah, since it's visualization, I thought I asked the question here because it's hard to explain on the Facebook question, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
um,
not all questions
yeah,
belong there. I mean, yeah, I get it. Yep.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm not a friend of edit interactions. It's also I have often the feeling it's weird how it behaves. Um, but
yeah,
actually,
it does take some getting used to.
hard to tell how this can be improved. Right now
I
I don't
know.
feel quite happy yet. I don't know how to
Yeah. I mean, you heard
proceed.
me earlier. I was complaining about the drill
Yeah,
down. I have no
yeah.
idea what's the right. What's the intuitive,
Mm,
discoverable way to drill down. But
mm.
um, yeah,
So
it's
why I asked was so these are interactions and the measures are given out like what I defined. Let's say percentages out of a total or something.
mm,
And so then I was thinking, in order to preserve the values as they are and not reset them to zero when I filter down,
yeah,
then I wouldn't need to use DAX, and that can become quite complex very easily and quickly. So I was not
yeah,
quite sure if visualization is the right way to change this behavior when people click and want to see something specific, if the visualization should be changed by edit interactions, or if you have other tricks at hand that can
yeah.
do similar things.
Well, so let me make sure I kind of understand what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
edit interactions, the ones you highlighted for me was that
I actually,
it,
if I can share, I mean,
yeah,
I've prepared the set
yeah,
so that there is no proprietary information in there.
yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah.
click on the green screen share button,
Screen share. Oh, there it is.
or
Okay.
just share, I think.
Yeah. And that goes here. Okay. Share.
All right,
So,
it's coming up. Yay! Look at that. Hold on.
so I
So,
have a date selector and I have a category. It's a Q
mhm,
selector. And when I
yeah.
use this, it filters. So this is a custom visual. And when it's filtered, it shows only one bar,
Yeah,
two bars, and so forth. I turned
yeah.
this off on this one. But I can turn it on. Okay. So the other option just disappeared. I don't know why the highlight option disappeared.
I think for slicer it doesn't apply. Like, or shoot, that's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, why did it disappear?
Ah, okay, okay.
I
So
I don't know. I
so
think
and
yeah.
what I wanted to show is when I go here,
Mhm.
then the line graph is nicely filtered. That's fine.
Yeah.
When I but when I have everything, oops,
Yeah.
and I choose a certain, well, and I'm not quite there yet. So it switches the other values to zero, which then comes to the measure of 100%, which is not really useful. So but when I filter, then I only see one bar, which is also not a nice option. So
Mm,
when I let this one filter
yeah.
the
Well,
The other
but
one.
those other
So
values are not relevant. Why is one bar not okay? I mean,
okay. Good question. It's still better to see the other values, I thought, rather
so
than,
what does 100% really mean? That it doesn't apply? What does
yeah,
that?
it's actually, yeah, and that was my confusion.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so
So can you show me that one bar example maybe?
yeah,
So what is that? What is the other behavior?
so this is
This
where I
is what it
think
starts
highlighting
with.
does,
So right now it looks good, but then you click
yeah,
on one.
when I highlight, oh, this is
This is
what
filter. Ah,
filter.
oh, that looks horrible because
Yes.
5.63% is the whole thing. So that is
But,
that is
yeah, well,
really
that is
bad.
because I set it to 5%, between 0 and 5%. So anything above 5%
Oh,
becomes a full bar.
oh okay. So,
Uh,
ooh, gosh.
I can put that to auto
So
scale again
that
on the
that is
x-axis.
filter. And
Uh,
and what is the other one? How does highlight look like? Show that to me again.
I can't show it anymore. It just disappeared on me. I don't know why. It used
No. Select the other visual, the SLA compliance per queue.
this one.
Yeah, that's the one you're clicking on, right? Is
Yeah.
is that what you're
Oh, no,
selecting?
no. Here we have highlight. Okay. And then, oh, and now it's filter.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's filter.
Filter. Filter is okay, but
Yeah,
uh,
but you would rather see the other
mm,
bars as well, and you
yes,
would prefer that
but with the
they.
original values and not with the filtered values.
So show me highlight. Show me highlight again. Okay, and unselect the SLA compliance per queue.
Which one had it? This one? Once again.
Huh. So so your desired behavior is if you clicked on E, then what happened?
No, I think highlight.
What is
Okay.
what would be ideal?
Um, I think the I think you get me to the right spot here.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's
so no, I think that's really helpful because I think filter does the right thing.
yeah,
Yeah. But it looks so weird when there's only one bar. I think that
I
is a
know.
little bit of my problem. When I have
Yeah.
an overall
Well,
of
frankly, so the custom visual you're using on your left, gosh, remind me what it's called. I can't believe Stephen Fee
what
would
is
never
it?
forgive
That
me.
is
It's
this
called
one. Data bar KPI.
oh shoot, no, Stephen Fee has a name for it. YouTube folks, can you help me out? What does Stephen Fee call these? Dang, I feel. Anyway, so Stephen Few is a huge fan of these, and this is a very effective visual, whatever it's called. And yeah, and of course he goes in detail and he talks about why he likes it, how it can communicate a lot of information in a compact space, which is great. But I also noticed that if you, and I'm not sure if you do have the scenario right, but you selected only one, like in that select queue thing, it looked so weird, you know. So yeah, it's one of those things. Um, so I think in this case filter is the best option.
Okay.
But in other cases, sure, if you do hack around in DAX all the time, again depends on what the requirement is. And as I
Mm.
was talking to Miko earlier, in general, I'm a little wary of complexity. Not wary, I would say. I mean, I'm fine with complexity. In fact, I often, in my course, I talk about that it's not a complex measure, it's awesome measure. If it's giving you something meaningful, useful, it's awesome. I don't see it as complex, right? But just understanding that if you add some complexity to it, it's not a one-time cost. You're gonna pay that cost throughout the life of the model. Every time you come back to it and you say, oh, this somebody says, oh, that number doesn't look right, and you come back and investigate, you might have to deal with it. And again, sometimes it's you look at the cost, like, yeah, I'm okay. I mean, I get it, right? But as long as you're aware of that, right? So I'm okay with kind of hacking around things in DAX, but uh, yeah, just be careful. I don't know. It's one of those art versus science things, right? I mean, that part is definitely art. It's not, there's no definite rule that this is when you should solve in DAX and this is when you shouldn't. Hey, but thanks for sharing this. This I guess is it so it has dummy data, but this is similar to your real
And
report, right?
no, no, it's real data. It's only that I had to
Oh,
rename.
yeah, yeah, anonymized
Yeah.
everything, right? So
Yeah.
just really curious, what is this report about?
What this is
Hmm.
yeah, SLA compliance,
Yeah. So just
and they are
scroll
different
up.
queues. They have different names, and I don't go into detail which one is which, but
Yeah,
it's so it actually so the goal here is to display
yeah,
how far off of the SLA
yeah,
each of the queues is.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty cool. So that black bar and that SLA compliance per queue, that thick black line, vertical line, is
And
is the
oh yeah,
target,
okay.
right? That's the
So this
target.
okay, this is a custom visual. I have
Hmm.
not really grasped all the details of it yet
Oh, okay, okay,
because
okay.
it talks about gap as well. So I have
Yeah.
defined a target. So the black
Yeah,
bar is
yeah.
the target.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And yeah, beautiful. Hey, thanks for sharing
Hmm.
this with us.
Okay.
By the way,
Sure.
we are also uh, doing something new. I think a few weeks from now. I think it's a brilliant idea, but again, with ideas, you never know. We're gonna do kind of the beta, the MVP, and see how it goes. So the idea is to do something like a dashboard review and makeover.
Oh,
And
okay.
of course, the hurdle that comes sometimes is that people say, "Oh, but my data is sensitive." So we're not really sure. We just want to try it out and see how it works. I think worst case scenario, what we're thinking is people can take screenshots of their dashboards and blur out some data. So of course, what you did takes a little more work, where you kind of anonymize names and that sort of stuff. Doesn't take that much.
It was just renaming some values in the
Yeah.
query. That was okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So there
Uh,
are ways around it, but yeah, it's still a little bit of work. So I'm not sure what we're
yes.
gonna
Yes.
get. And of course, in some cases, people might have dashboards where they say, I don't know, maybe they're using public data, but they send in, and it'll be kind of a combination of we'll bring it up, and I don't know, we'll just kind of see what we like, what we don't like, so we can give them feedback, like, oh, maybe this could be different, that could be different, something like that. So we would give them feedback, and I don't know, sometimes maybe we wouldn't have feedback. It will be just like, hey, this is wonderful, and thanks for sharing, and everybody kind of gets to see this example. So we'll try it out and see how that goes. I'm excited about that.
Hmm. Okay. Good. Okay. I still don't trust edit interactions really, but yeah.
um,
Uh,
yeah, I mean, to be candid, I yeah, I use it pretty rarely. Yeah,
uh-huh.
but
Okay.
it's kind of like the custom visuals for me. Again, I use custom visuals very rarely. I don't know. I'm really uh, like kind of keeping it simple and so forth. So I stick with the standard visuals. But it's one of those things when you need it, you're like, oh shoot, I really need it. So yeah, actually one
Mm.
scenario where I do use it, and man, it can be a lifesaver is when you say not filter. And again, you wouldn't think about that. Like, why would you want that? But
Mm.
sometimes that's a lifesaver because
Yes.
that can be the difference between you writing a lot of DAX and not. And maybe I'll pull up an example later. So yeah. So sometimes that one is a lifesaver. We say no, just don't, just don't filter that one. So that one I have used on occasion. Terrific.
And
Yeah.
and actually, the reason why I'm playing here, uh, so the goal was to have a visual that actually displays the offset of 100%, yeah,
Hmm.
and not the positive portion like um, um, let me say it this way. It should have 100% on the left hand side and zero on the right hand side. And I have not found any visual that can do that.
Ah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and this is why I'm also trying to inverse the value, and then it still looks a little bit weird and needs a legend. And so yeah, so sometimes the power of Power BI is the visualization, and then you look for it, and the devil is in the detail, and you don't get what you need.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I try to enjoy the process. I mean, it's definitely peeling the onion. I mean, you go to one level and then go to the next one, and yeah, I really think if somebody's gonna do this for a while, you better learn to kind of enjoy it. I mean, yeah, not be kind of not let that frustrate you.
Uh,
Yeah, you're gonna find a way. Yeah, so that's cool.
all right. Okay.
Bullet
Cool.
chart. All right, so
I
Samuel,
will keep looking. Thanks so much
perfect,
for trying to
great.
get the best here.
All right, so Samuel, thanks for helping us out. So the Stephen Few name for the visual that Ansgar had on there, it's called a bullet chart, and Stephen Few is a huge fan. I like it. I'll admit that I haven't used it that often, but yeah, it's and again the idea is that it's a very compact visual. It can communicate a lot of information in a small space, and in dashboard design it's all about, I mean, screen this is really screen real estate, right? So you gotta kind of treat that with respect, like every pixel, how much value information you can add without overloading the user, right? So that's the idea behind bullet chart, that uh, it's pretty straightforward to understand and takes much less space. Then oh my gosh, then imagine, so try replacing a bullet chart with a bunch of these. It will fill up your screen. So that's where they come in. Alrighty, great. So all right. So Moss. I don't know. Maybe tell me your real name. Oh, he got it wrong. Dang it. We can get to him. All right. So let's do a last call of so YouTube. I'm certainly looking at you guys if you have any questions. And hey, the talk line is open, so if you dial in, just use the password drive, and you can talk to me. You can ask questions. You can share a screen. All of that. Uh, or of course, folks on the phone, if you have a question, then go ahead and unmute yourself and just ask. Do I have any stories to share? Oh well. Oh, you know what? Check out. So my daughter would keep swiping my water bottle, and it was like, gosh, come on! I go on these calls, talk about BI, and they can be hours long. And I got thirsty, and I had to have a water bottle, so I got mine. But of course, what I feel pretty awesome about is that I could get this on there. Oh man, the day I got it yesterday. I think I was like, oh. So yep, that's my new water bottle. All right, terrific. All right, guys, so we'll call it a day. What's coming next? A lot of exciting stuff. We're going to have a few different special topics. One which is close to my heart. Now, of course, you go to my website, and the tagline here is "Don't just learn, lead," right? And I strongly believe in that. I mean, because frankly, I know I was in that mode where I was just learn. I remember. So I did enroll in Masters of Computer Science. I'm like, oh gosh, yeah, I gotta get a degree, da da da. And I was thinking about MBA at that time. I was thinking about MBA after that. And it's all good. I'm not gonna diss that, but I definitely think it's not what you believe it is. I've had friends who went through MBA and then took like a huge loan. So this friend of mine, he had a whole family. He's got wife and kids, and so for one, he took a break for I think a year and a half. It wasn't quite a 2-year program, but year and a half. So that's the lost salary. First of all, right there, right? You're not earning anything. That's a loss. And then of course the expenses, and this was an Ivy League MBA, so it was expensive, and of course the lodging and all that stuff he had to move. So it was hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he came out, and then I asked him, like, so dude, what do you think? And he said, Avi, now I know what I don't know. And I'm like, what? Seriously? Yeah, I mean, and I get what he's saying, right? I mean, because you get exposed to this whole world, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's this, accounting, and there's this, and there's investing, and da da da, all of that stuff, right? And and you don't become an expert. Nobody's gonna hire you as an expert in there. You probably get like a slave hour job at a consulting company. And yes, sure, you slog away and it gets better. You earn a lot of money, but I kind of question if that's the only path, right? So and I don't think it is, right? And I don't think it is. And the odd thing, my friends, is that I feel less is more. So rather than going to this mode where like, oh, now I know what I don't know, right? Which is you learn just a little bit, a sliver of a whole bunch of different things. I think you gotta kind of dive in, but then do something with it, right? I mean, start applying it, and that's a lot more powerful. So in a way, I mean, I got really lucky. So when I left Microsoft, I had no clue. I had no friggin' idea what I was doing. I just had a dream in my heart. I'm like, oh yay, Power BI. I'm gonna do this, and right. So I had no idea what I was doing, and but I was lucky. I did struggle, but I got lucky that I found a mentor, and I found a mentor, and he doesn't teach you MBA, right? I think if I had gone for an MBA and then started my business, I think I would have failed. I would have crashed and burned. Because for one, MBA doesn't teach you the style of business that I'm running and that I love. And that style of business is solopreneur. And man, I would not trade it for anything else in the world. I love it, right? So I don't have any dreams of building a company with 30 or 300 or 3,000 people. That's not for me. If you want that, good for you, my friend. More power to you. That's just not for me. I want a life where I can work from my home and I can spend time with my kids. I can go, so we go on doggy dates on Wednesday. That's a Wednesday thing. My daughter gets off from school early, and I just take the dog, and we do things with dog. And sometimes it's just not like a dog thing. Sometimes we take her to the dog park. Sometimes we just go to Starbucks and she's like tied to a chair or something. But yeah, I want last year I took a month off and went to India, spent time with my parents, with my family there. I want that, right? So I want so yeah. So I'm lucky I didn't join an MBA and walk out with now I know what I don't know kind of thing. And you walk out with that and a few $100,000 in debt, right? So I didn't do that. So I found this mentor, and his story is simple. He set up his solopreneur business, and then he turned around and said, hey, guys, look, I did it. Man, it was really hard, but I want to make it easy for you. I want to give you the shortcut, right? And of course, anything online, you're really skeptical, like, really? Is he a scammer? Is he going to take all my money and run and that sort of stuff? But well, I had known him for a long time, so I did have I did trust in that way. So yeah, so I invested, and man, it was back then. It was, I think, like $2,000 plus program, and I was sweating bullets. I had left my job at Microsoft. Money was tight anyway. I was seeing my savings disappear, and man, I felt like, oh, what had I done? I felt like man, I really felt bad. I mean, I felt like I'd made the biggest mistake of my life, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was so magical when the paycheck just showed up twice every month. I almost didn't have to do anything, and now, man, there was no paycheck, right? So I felt like I was on the ropes, right? And then I invested this money, and I remember as soon as I kind of bought it and paid it, I felt like, oh man, what have I done? And I felt like I'd made the biggest mistake in my life, which of course is silly, but I'm glad I didn't go right back and ask for a refund or something. And yeah, and so again, this person doesn't know everything, and I'm glad he doesn't. He just knew one thing, that hey, I built my solopreneur business. I can show you how. I built my solopreneur business. I can show you how. That's it. I don't know everything. I just know this one thing. If you need this one thing, come to me. And I did. And as I say, kind of rest is history, right? So yeah, so I don't know everything. I definitely could not give you an MBA, right? Or that knowledge or anything close to it. But I do know one thing. The one thing I know is how to build a successful training/consulting business out of Power BI. And now my goal is to teach everybody that, right? So actually, I should caveat that. So I know how you can leverage Power BI to make a big impact. Let's just put it that way, right? Now that impact, how that comes, is going to be your choice. It's going to be your choice, right? It's going to be your choice. That impact can come by you being an amazing employee, like Pam Baker, who's been featured on the channel. It can be if you're an amazing consultant, like Justina Bucks, who's also been featured on my channel. Or it could be that you're a trainer, as we have in our program, Grace and Diego. I'm sure you'll hear about those guys. Pretty amazing. Right, so that is your choice, but I do know that. So that's kind of my goal. And I'll admit I've forgotten how I started on this, but hopefully that helped. You got to hear a little bit more of my story. I'm not sure I've really shared like the spot when I signed up for enrolled in that entrepreneurs program. So that's what I would encourage you. I think that's what I was talking about. Is that folks. I know when we started this call, somebody was like, "Hey, how do I, give me some M and DAX videos and give me some, how do I become a master at DAX?" And that's all good, but it's, if that's all you focus on, you would totally miss out. You would not end up having a big impact because it takes something else. And of course, that's why we have our training programs. And now, of course, we have kind of 3 levels of them. We have the Learn Power BI, the main course. We have the Pro level, and we have what we call the Pro Plus. And we're on this journey. And frankly, I don't really care which level you're enrolled in. I don't really care. I mean, the examples that I always use, Pam Baker and Justina Bucks, the amazing employee who had a breakout success in her company, Volvo, and Justina Bucks, they never enrolled in any of my other programs. They're part of this program, right? So I don't really care, right? I mean, of course, I built those other programs to kind of serve you at a higher level, and for those who are there who need it, I'm happy to kind of serve them there. But this idea applies to anybody that I engage with. Of course, even to the followers, right, guys? I mean, you've heard me. I talk to you, and I say the same thing. And you don't have to follow me. You don't have to enroll in my course, but please at least consider my advice that don't just be so fixated on DAX, and MMM. There's a much bigger world out there. Actually, you know what? Oh my gosh, this is actually a great segue. So guys, you're gonna like it. So here's the thing. So I shared about this fellow, David Goggins. And by the way, check out my shout out for my new channel, Power On Now. Check that out. We feature some of those videos on here as well on our channel. But on that channel, I posted a video about
This is
David
Avi
Goggins.
Singh.
Oh, that's all this. Where I so if you find this controversial, do listen to that. Motivation and worth shit. But David Goggins. So I don't want to lose it. Oh gosh, what was I going here? Oh man, I lost my train of thought. It was something awesome, but I shouldn't have segued to Paro now. But oh man, I feel like it was something cool. Don't just need to take my advice. What was I saying? Okay, hey, it'll come back to me. All right, but yeah, check it out, David Goggins. He has a book, Can't Hurt Me. A really amazing kind of story, and man, I forgot. There was some connection with him and my story. Dude. All right. Anyway, I maybe that's a sign that it's time to go. So, folks, we'll catch you next time on Friday, and we have some exciting events lined up. We'll be announcing them soon. So look forward to that, and I'll talk to you soon. Power on.